Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the SAT Math. This should be the second to last video for the SAT Math, and we should be moving on to other concepts soon. Maybe we'll take a break between the SAT parts. But really, this is going to be some more review, right? So first skill, linear equations of two variables. We went over this in a different video, but more review can't hurt. So we have here a question. It gives us 2 points on a line, a linear line, and it wants us to find the y-coordinate at the point where k minus 5 is. So what we can do here is kind of find the slope to help think it out. And if we remember, the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And in this case, let's set this to our y2, this to our x2, this to our x1, and this to our y1. Now, how do we calculate the slope then? Well, y2 is negative 15 minus y1 over x2, which is k plus 7, minus x1, which is k. So what do we get? We get negative 28 over 7, which equals negative 4. So that's our slope. But what we notice is that it's asking us to go backwards. So, and you can also notice this by seeing that as we go forwards, or k or the x increases, we get, well, the value starts going more negative, right, to negative 15. So we're going to have to be adding on 4 if we're going backwards to x minus 5. But we're going to have to add on 4 how many times? Well, if we take k minus 1 and we go back 1, this would be 13 plus 4. And the reason is because since you're going backwards, remember, you're taking the opposite sign of this. So it's not going to be negative, it's going to be positive. Now, if we do k minus 2, it would be 13 plus 2 times 4. So what do we notice? Well, this number and the number multiplying by the 4 is the same. So if we do k minus 5, what should it be? Well, it should be 13 plus 5 times 4, which is 13 plus 20, and that's 33. So on to the next question. Line k is defined by some equation. Line j is perpendicular to line k in the xy plane. What is the slope of line j? Well, if we remember, there's sort of two distinct things about slope we're trying to remember here. And that's that what is the slope of a parallel line? And then ultimately, our answer is looking for what is the slope of a perpendicular line. Well, the slope of a parallel line, you can imagine that if you have a line that's kind of like this, right? Very good straight line, that you would want a line that also follows this similar route to be parallel. How do you do that? Well, we know that the sort of route the line travels is determined by the slope. And you can see that these have pretty much the same slope. So a parallel line is going to have the same slope. A perpendicular line is sort of the opposite. So say I have this thing, right? This line, like this. X equals, or m is 1, right? Just a positive m equals 1 slope. Well, how would you get 90 degrees from here? You would draw another line going in the complete opposite direction. And you might not be able to tell on this graph, but in real life, that is 90 degrees there. And this is when m equals negative 1. So what can we determine? Well, you have to flip the sign, yes, but you also have to flip the fraction. So what we're looking for is a term called opposite reciprocal, and you're taking the opposite, which is positive, right? So positive, and then you're taking the reciprocal, which of a fraction is just flipping it. So 3 over 17. And that's going to be our answer for this question here. Now, the next focus skill we are on is nonlinear functions, and I think this was also covered in another video. You should check those out. So this question can be done pretty easily in Desmos. the product of two positive integers is 462. So let's say two positive integers and the product is multiplication. So let's say down here, xy equals 462. If the first integer is 5 greater than twice the second integer, what is the smaller value of the two integers? So how do we define this? Well, let's say x is our first variable. Well, we would get x equals 2y plus 5. Why? Because we have our first integer is 5 greater than, that's why we're adding 5, and then twice the second integer, which is our y. So twice the second integer is the 2 in front, and then you're adding 5. So let's go to Desmos for this. Let's see. Now, let's say xy equals 462, like we said, and x equals 2y plus 5. Well, what do we get? We're looking for positive, so what is the smaller of the two integers? Well, we see that it gives us 2 points here, and we're looking for where they intersect, and it does say positive integers, so it's not going to be down here. So 33, 14, what's smaller? 14. So our answer is simply going to be 14. Okay, last question, guys. The function f is defined by f of x equals -8 times 2 to the power of x plus 22. What is the y-intercept of the graph y equals f of x in the plane? Well, the y-intercept, you got to remember that's when x equals 0. And the x-intercept is when y equals 0. So what is it then? Well, let's set f of x equal to 0. So, or x equal to 0 and f of x. So f of 0 equals -8 times 2 to the 0 plus 22. Well, anything raised to the 0th power is 1. So we get -8 times 1 plus 22, which is really just 22 minus 8. And if you do some quick math, you can see that that is going to be 14. So what is our answer here? Well, 0, 14. Not that hard. Honestly, I feel like these, they show exponential functions like this really just to scare you. But it's not that bad. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.